And a sign language interpreter for tonight's bulletin is Meresha Owite. Now, Kenya's fuel supply situation remains bleak, with the country a few days away from a stockout and possibility of full-blown crisis, even with its petroleum storage facilities full. This is due to some oil marketing companies holding huge stocks of petroleum products in the Kenya Pipeline Company's facilities that are earmarked for a re-export to neighboring countries. Here's KTN's Brian George Otieno with details of the looming fuel shortage crisis.
Another day, another week, and the fuel shortage crisis is flowing back fast. In Kakamega, for example, the queues are getting longer by the day, to the extent that police officers have to intervene to maintain order in the long queues.
Tunanyanyasa mafuta yanakuja kama gold. Petrol tu moja peke yake ndo tunatumia hii ya sherere wote. Raundi hatupiki kura. Tunateseka mafuta, tunatoka Sikalakala. Pia mimi hakuna mafuta raundi hii Kenya.
So you wonder why the fuel shortage has been sustained despite government assurance. Here's why. As of Wednesday last week, there were some 46.8 million litres of super petrol meant for consumption in Kenya that could have lasted the country 8 days, and another 64.64 million litres of diesel that could have lasted 10 days. On the other hand, there were 70.3 million litres that were meant for transit and could last the re-export market 19 days, going by the amount of fuel that uplift from the Kenyan system on a daily basis. Now, the transit stock for diesel stood at 61.77 million litres, and this could last the export market 15 days. The government has been aiming for a local to transit ratio of 60 to 40. But the opposite has been true, going by these volumes. The super petrol that had been earmarked for local consumption stood at 39.8%, while 60.2% was meant for export. Diesel was at 50-50. The information is contained in a report that came from a meeting of industry stakeholders that was convened by the Ministry of Petroleum. The Petroleum Ministry, however, allayed fears of any shortage, noting that the stock position had improved by Thursday. Again, according to data by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, there were enough stocks of super petrol amounting to 144.6 million litres of petrol to last both Kenya and its neighbours 15 days, while those of diesel 152 million litres that can go for 14 days. But the stock report does not show how much of this is meant for the local or export market, with industry sources noting when these demarcations are made, the supply situation remained the same. Additionally, the IPRA report shows there is a vessel that is discharging 120 million litres of super petrol at the moment at the Kipevu oil terminal. Another 4 ships have lined up at the port to discharge more than 320 million litres of diesel. Notable, however, is that while there are huge cargoes of diesel expected to be discharged into Kenya storage systems between April and May 22nd, there are none for super petrol, which could point to an unstable coming weeks for super petrol users. The long and short of it is, the oil marketers are keen on the export market, where they fetch better prices than selling in the Kenyan market. Now, this is the eye of fuel shortage storm in the country.
Nimekuwa kwa laini kutoka saa 2 mpaka saa hii. Sijakula kitu. Hata sina matumaini kama nitapata mafuta.
Hii ni Planet Earth. Kenya tunachota mafuta. Turukana. Inasaidia nini? Sasa tunaishi kama sisi si wa Kenya. Kura tutapika aje? Wakubwa wenyewe wachipikie kura. Sisi tunataka tuishi maisha yetu.
For now, you may have to deal with the fuel shortage as the independent oil marketers and IPRA trade accusations. Independent oil marketers serve at least 30% of the Kenyan rural market, which explains why there is a rise in shortage of fuel in the rural areas. Now, the Ministry of Petroleum, in what is seen as regulatory action, has ordered all the oil marketers who have 100% stock in transit to convert 40% of that stock to local by 6 p.m. Tuesday, failure to which they risk sanctioning.
Right, so we wait and see what the government will say and do about that looming oil fuel crisis here in the country that's already being witnessed in other parts of the country. But then, to matters politics, presidential and governorship candidates